you have to identify the anatomical position, right? So in the upper limb, when I keep the arms like this, in the upper limb, whatever you are seeing in the front, we defined it as flexor compartment, right? So we have named it as flexor compartment of arm, forearm, and palmar surface of the hand. But it is opposite in the lower limb because of direction of the rotation of the limb buds, which gives rise to limbs in the opposite direction. So whatever you see in the front of the lower limb, for example, if you see, or in this specimen, let us see in this specimen, this is the front of the lower limb, right? So front of the thigh, front of the leg, this is all extensor compartment. What you are seeing on the back is the flexor compartment, right? So lower limb can be divided into pelvic girdle, the thigh region, and the leg region and the foot, right? So whatever you are seeing front is all extensor compartment. When it comes to the foot, this surface is called dorsal surface of the foot, and this is the plantar surface. Okay? Now, let us concentrate on the thigh region, which extends from the hip joint to the knee joint. Right? Now, the entire skin of the thigh, the skin covers the entire thigh region, and deep to the skin, like other part of the body, you are going to see the superficial fascia and the deep fascia. Now, what the point you have to remember is the deep fascia of the thigh is called fascia lata. The name of the deep fascia is called fascia lata. Okay? Now, we are not going to call it as deep fascia here. Instead of that, we call it as fascia lata. Now, the fascia lata covers the entire thigh region. It is covering the entire thigh region, right? Sits around the entire thigh. Now, the fascia lata shows some modification. You have to remember modification of the fascia lata. What are the modifications? The fascia lata becomes thick on the lateral part, and it gets a name called iliotibial tract. This is the iliotibial tract. This is the iliotibial tract. What you are seeing in the lateral part, thick part of the fascia lata is the iliotibial tract, and this is the iliotibial tract. Right? Now, once you come across the term iliotibial tract, the function is to keep the hip joint and knee joint in a stabilized condition. It stabilizes the hip joint and knee joint, the function of iliotibial tract. Right? The iliotibial tract, as you trace it up, it splits like this into two lamina. The iliotibial tract splits into two layers. Between these two layers, you are going to see this muscle fiber here. This is called gluteus maximus and tensor fascia lata. So in the exam, if they pin this one, identify the pin structure. You are going to identify the iliotibial tract. Name the muscles enclosed in it. Gluteus maximus and tensor fascia lata. Right? The function of the iliotibial tract to stabilize the hip joint as well as the knee joint. Clear? Now that is the first modification of fascia lata. The fascia lata in front of the thigh region, in the upper part of the anterior compartment of the thigh region, in the front, it becomes very thin, and that is called cribriform fascia. Another modification of the fascia lata is cribriform fascia. So cribriform fascia is the thinnest part of the fascia lata, which allows the great saphenous vein. I am going to show this vein here. This is the great saphenous vein. This is passing through the cribriform fascia. My finger is a cribriform fascia. This is the thin part of the fascia lata called cribriform fascia. The great saphenous vein pierces cribriform fascia and drains into the femoral vein. Right? That is another modification. Right? Cribriform fascia. And also the opening, the fascia lata also shows a small opening called saphenous opening. So three modifications of fascia lata: saphenous opening, cribriform fascia, and iliotibial tract. So once you come across the term iliotibial tract, the function is to stabilize hip joint and knee joint, and it encloses gluteus maximus and tensor fascia lata. Clear? Now we are seeing this is the facial lata covering the entire thigh. It is on the front as well as back of the thigh. Now the thigh region, the facial lata sends a septa to the femur, okay, dividing the thigh into three compartments. There is an anterior compartment of the thigh. Whatever you are seeing is the anterior compartment of the thigh. This is the posterior compartment of the thigh, and this is the medial compartment of the thigh. So the septa from the deep fascia, this is the deep fascia covering the entire thigh. There is a septa going like this to the femur, like this coming to the femur, dividing into anterior compartment, medial compartment, and posterior compartment. Now what you've got to remember, the thigh is divided into three compartments: anterior or extensor compartment, posterior or flexor compartment, medial or adductor compartment. Adductor compartment, right? Now once you remember there are three compartments in the thigh region, very easy to remember. Each compartment has its own nerve. Nerve of the anterior compartment is femoral nerve. That means any muscle present in the anterior compartment has to be supplied by the femoral nerve, right? So nerve of the anterior compartment is the femoral nerve. Nerve of the posterior compartment is the sciatic nerve. Nerve of the medial compartment is the obturator nerve. So muscles present in the medial compartment will be supplied by the obturator nerve. Muscles present in the posterior compartment has to be supplied by the sciatic nerve. So only thing you have to remember which muscle in which compartment. Nerve supply is very easy. Any muscle present in the anterior compartment is femoral nerve, right? Now I told the posterior compartment there is a sciatic nerve. One word about the sciatic nerve is it is the thickest nerve in the body. So it is the thickest nerve in the body, and it divides just above the knee joint. It divides into common peroneal and tibial nerve. So this is one. Just pull this one. Come on. You did not take lunch, eh? So now I am holding the sciatic nerve. This is the thickest nerve. As I trace this one, see it is dividing into common peroneal nerve. What I am holding is the common peroneal nerve, and the thick one is the tibial nerve. Right? Now I want you to go further. See the common peroneal nerve is running on the lateral side of the leg. See here, it's going on the lateral side, right? There is a bone, the lateral bone of the leg is called fibula. Medial bone is the tibia, right? So it is close to the head of the fibula. That means it is very superficial. Peroneal nerve is superficial. So if somebody comes and hits you at the knee joint, at the head of the fibula, there is a chance of damaging the common peroneal nerve. Because very superficial. If somebody comes and hits you here, right? So this common peroneal nerve can be damaged because it is very superficial and close to the head of the fibula. Or in any accident, if there is a fracture of the fibula, chances of damaging common peroneal nerve. Now if this common peroneal nerve is damaged, it leads to a condition called foot drop. You heard about wrist drop? Damage to wrist drop is caused due to damage to the hey, what? Next week is the exam. Huh? Come on. Damage to the wrist drop, radial nerve. It is damage to the radial nerve, wrist drop. Damage to the common peroneal nerve. Foot drop. Right? Your foot will be like this. You cannot lift the foot like this. Foot will be always like this. Right? Now, we have seen the sciatic nerve. Right? Now, first thing, let us see anterior compartment. What is the nerve of the anterior compartment? Femoral nerve. Right? Let us list the muscles in the femoral, that is anterior compartment. Only one muscle you have to remember here is this muscle. This is called quadriceps femoris. This muscle is the quadriceps femoris. Right? Quadriceps means it has got 4 parts. So what are the parts of the quadriceps femoris? This is the rectus femoris. Right? This is the vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and deep to this, what you are seeing here, vastus intermedius. right? Here also you can see this one. I am showing this part. See here, iliotibial tract is present. So in the spot of the thigh, this one. What are these muscles? Tensor facial lata, right? And as we go deep, it is the gluteus magnus. Now this is the rectus femoris muscle. This is the vastus medialis. This is the vastus lateralis, and this muscle fiber is vastus intermedius. All together, when you keep together, we call it as quadriceps femoris. Now, point you to remember is there is a quadriceps femoris. Now, all the four parts are fused, and it is going to form a bone. This is the patella. So, patella is developed from tendon of quadriceps femoris. Any bone developed from the tendon of the muscle, we call it as. Come on. Sesamoid bone. Any bone developed from the tendon is called sesamoid bone. Patella is the largest sesamoid bone in the body, developed from tendon of quadriceps femoris. Right? Tendon of quadriceps femoris. Now, after forming patella, what is happening to the quadriceps femoris? It continues down as ligamentum patellae and attached to tibial tuberosity. Right? So, any tibia is there on the tibia is there? Femur. Come on, man. What I asked? Any detail you can see that? No? Okay. Pull that one, you can pull that one. See here, see this part. This is the quadriceps femoris tendon, right? Vastus intermedius, rectus femoris, vastus medialis, vastus lateralis. They form the patella. After forming patella, it is descending down. What I am touching, this is the ligamentum patellae, right? And this ligamentum patellae is attached to this bone. This is the tibial tuberosity. So this is the tibial tuberosity. So this is the tibial tuberosity. What I am pointing is the tibial tuberosity, right? So in the exam, if they ask what is attached to tibial tuberosity, it is the ligamentum patellae, right? Now we know that is one muscle is the quadriceps femoris having four parts. Now another muscle in the anterior compartment is this muscle. So you can see this muscle here. This is the longest muscle in the body. This is called sartorius. Longest muscle in the body, sartorius, taking origin from anterior superior iliac spine and inserted to the medial surface of the tibia. It is coming all the way like this, medial surface of the tibia, right? That is the sartorius muscle. What is the nerve supply to sartorius? Femoral nerve. For that you have to think. So, quadriceps femoris is supplied by the femoral nerve. Sartorius is supplied by the femoral nerve. And the one muscle which is present in the anterior compartment is nothing but the fascia, that is what we call tensor facial lata. Tensor facial lata, right? So these are the muscles of the anterior compartment. I repeat, quadriceps femoris with four parts, rectus femoris, vastus medialis, intermedius and lateralis, forming the patella, extends down as the ligamentum patellae, inserted to the tibial tuberosity, right? Supplied by the femoral nerve. The sartorius muscle supplied by the femoral nerve, anterior superior iliac spine, medial surface of the shaft of the tibia, right? And the tensor facial lata. All are supplied by femoral nerve. Now the quadriceps femoris, when you contract, it will lock the knee joint. It will extension of the knee joint, right? So when you try to kick, the knee joint gets locked. That is brought by quadriceps femoris, right? If you want to see, if What is your name? Huh? Ronald is unable to kick the football. What is his problem now? He is unable to kick the football. What is his problem? Damage to femoral nerve. Right? So anybody cannot extend the knee joint or cannot do the kicking action or locking the knee joint, that means femoral nerve is damaged. What is the femur is paralyzed? Right? Then what is the action of the sartorius? Now I am sitting this position. I am sitting this position, right? What is the position? What is the action of at the knee joint? Is it flexed or extended? Flexed. Hip joint is also flexed. If I want to extend the hip joint, I have to stand like this. That is the extension of the hip joint. Now I am sitting here, that is the flexion of the hip joint. Right? Sartorius means flexion of the hip joint, flexion of the knee joint, and lateral rotation of the thigh. Abduction and lateral rotation of the thigh. This is the action of sartorius. What I am sitting now is by the contraction of sartorius. Flexion of knee joint, flexion of the hip joint, abduction of the thigh. Right? So we know the action, we know the nerve supply of all this. This is difficult. Very simple. Now, what is important in the anterior compartment of the thigh? If you see upper part of the anterior compartment of the thigh, there is a small triangular depression between the sartorius and adductor longus. So this is the sartorius muscle, what I told, right? This is the sartorius muscle. I am showing here, this is the sartorius muscle, right? This is a continuation of the sartorius muscle. And here is the adductor longus muscle. These fibers are all adductor longus muscle, right? Here is the cut part of the sartorius. Here is the sartorius muscle. See, this is the sartorius muscle. And here is the adductor longus muscle. See, this is the adductor longus. This is the adductor longus muscle. Sartorius is coming here, adductor longus muscle. This is the inguinal ligament. This triangular area is called femoral triangle. It's bounded laterally by the sartorius, medially by the adductor longus, above by the inguinal ligament. Right? The skin, superficial fascia and facial lata forms the root. Floor is formed by, very important importance to identify this muscle. This is the psoas major, this is the iliacus muscle. Iliacus and psoas major. They descends down and forms the floor of the femoral triangle. This is the iliacus and psoas tendon. Both fused together and inserted to the lesser trochanter of the femur. Structure attached to lesser trochanter of the femur is iliopsoas tendon. Right? So when this tendon contracts, what is going to happen? You see this thigh, it brings close to the anterior abdominal wall. This is called the flexion of the hip joint. Right? So iliopsoas brings the flexion of the hip joint. Now we don't want that. We want iliopsoas forming the floor of the femoral triangle. Once again, I repeat the boundaries of femoral triangle. Medially it is bounded by adductor longus, laterally by the sartorius, above by the inguinal ligament. Apex is formed by the meeting point of medial and lateral boundary. Skin, superficial fascia, facial lata form the root. Iliacus and psoas major, they form the floor of the femoral triangle. Right? Now the contents of the femoral triangle, very important to identify. Medial most structure in the femoral triangle, what you are seeing, this medial most structure. This medial most structure in the femoral triangle is the femoral vein. This is the femoral artery and this is the femoral nerve. Structures forming the contents of the femoral triangle: femoral vein, femoral artery and the femoral nerve. Clear? Here also femoral vein, femoral artery and the femoral nerve. Now great saphenous vein is draining into the femoral nerve. Right? Now what is important is the femoral triangle. As you see the femoral contents of the femoral triangle, the femoral artery and the vein is covered by a sheath. That is what we call the femoral sheath. Femoral nerve is not inside the femoral sheath. Right? Femoral artery and the vein is present in the femoral sheath. Femoral nerve is outside the femoral sheath. Right? Now you have to know a little bit when you go to the clinical side, very useful, and for the exam also it is very useful. Right? Now, don't tell it, deal about it.
Oh, sorry. Repeat.
So now I showed this is the inguinal ligament, and this is the sartorius muscle, and this is the adductor longus muscle. The adductor longus, sartorius, and inguinal ligament. Right? This is the femoral triangle. I want to draw medial most structure in the femoral triangle.